Al pie del Ávila majestuoso, a 920 metros sobre el nivel del mar, en un valle de verde geografía que se abre de este a oeste, surge Caracas, la capital de Venezuela.
And now, our feature presentation.
You are watching a master at work.
Go get some!
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Combat Club. Capitán Rafucho and Zenith bringing it to the best of the best of combat sports. MMA, boxing, wrestling, because in this club, we're born to fight anywhere, anytime, anyone. And this episode is going to be fully loaded because I understand that it is the Valentine's Day. So it's going to be like a great day to hanging out with your girlfriend and everything. But right now, it is the perfect time to talk about MMA, boxing on this weekend because it's going to be unforgettable. So right now, in this episode, we're going to review everything. What happens to UFC 312 between Dricus du Plessis versus Sean Strickland, which, as a matter of fact, Dricus du Plessis, they just won against Sean Strickland. But, you know, there's a lot of issues coming up there. But you know what? I'm just going to let one of my co-hosts talk about. So, how you been, Science? So we're about to get ready.
What an intro, man. What an intro. Gets me every time. What a bomb intro. Want to say what's up, Daniel, man. Shout out for being here tonight with us on a Friday night. Excited to talk combat sports, man. We had 312 this past weekend. Really, really good card. Although the main event didn't quite, go the way I wanted it to go. Absolutely amazing, fun fight, fun night of fights. I know we have 251 coming up tomorrow with Jared Cannonier and Gregory Rodriguez. But that being said, though, 312 is what we're basically going to be focusing on tonight, guys. If Lou hits us up later on in the show, he might come on and talk boxing. So make sure you guys tune in for that. I know Lou is, I believe he's now 16-0 in not only picking the who's going to win the boxing fight, but but what round they're going to win too. So I know on the Combat Club, we say we're going to talk WWE, we say we're going to talk combat boxing. But at the end of the day, man, it's been a while. So I know there's a lot of boxing coming up. So if he doesn't make it on this episode, he'll for sure make it on next week's episode where we'll talk a lot of great boxing fights, even one going on tonight as well. But you know how me and Raphael do it. We just are the UFC specialists. And man, am I excited to talk 312. What a main card it was. Back over to you, Raphael. You go ahead and begin, and I'll just follow you, man. You lead, I'll follow.
Exactly. Because for this moment after UFC 312, I mean, there's been like a lot of surprises, shocking, but also it's been like something that I wasn't like really interested in at all. But I'm not gonna lie, because that event, it went so good, but there are some movements that it came like some weaker, because I know between the fight between Dricus du Plessis versus Sean Strickland, wasn't that really excited, because it could have been like, but holy shit, I mean, just like completely new to the UFC, and I know they're writing enough. I mean, that happens a lot, because I know that after Easy losing to Sean, that's one of the worst things to happen to the middleweight. And then 1 year later, they just got Sean Strickland losing against Dricus du Plessis. But I was like at a night, but I was like, holy snap. I mean, you can't even talk about what's happened because of Stackatum was over the leg. I mean, sometimes those fighters they look very skilled. I mean, that's 50 minutes. I mean, if it continues to like a curious experience, like it'll be pretty good. I mean, with this lack of the actual ring time, that was pretty like a performance against the undefeated. That it looks good for himself. I mean, I respect all those fighters that find the time to go to improve the skills and everything. But I know that so far for everything. I mean, they just came like at the main card between all those fighters. But it's kind of like very realistic. But between for those fighters, Rico's placing, I mean, that can be like something interesting. I mean, the most are rank just to not train them because I understand that some fighters, when it comes to the main event, they were going to like a real bad shape. Just carry on talking about it because they're not like big like the Blades or Pod or Fedor, but mostly like one of those fighters are trained regularly, but they have a bad diet. And for that reason, I mean, most of those fighters, they believe to the hype and they don't train like at a much faster and everything. Probably very similar. That happens a lot because I know that between for like the half of the card at the main event, they just really suck. But generally, I mean, if they have like a defense, they will be like a better fighter that he won.
No, I just said that what an amazing night of fights because I'm such a big UFC fan that anytime there's two people fighting in the cage, I can't wait to watch. But to be completely honest with the fans, I mean, like for the people, for the chat, I mean, like it has been kind of underwhelming, this start of the year. But at the end of the day, we did see some special moments on the court. But I will be honest, 312 was kind of lackluster in a sense. When you look at the main event, I would say this: DPP is a tough mofo, and he has my respect. I would say Sean Strickland showed up ready to go, and no matter what, staph infection or not, Sean Strickland was never gonna let that stop him from showing up to the fight. And to be honest, when he got to the fight, he definitely, I almost gave him the first round. But the second on, DPP absolutely controlled that fight. If you look at the stats, it is pretty easy. Even it looks even, but that's why they say stats can lie. If you look at Sean Strickland, he had 128 total strikes to 263 thrown. DPP had 149 to 316 thrown. If you look at the significant strikes, this were really both fighters kind of pushed the pace, but that's what DPP kind of separated himself a bit. His awkward movement, his awkward style. You're not supposed to win. If someone was to show me tape of a DPP and not tell me his record and just show me like not even highlights, just him fighting, just him shadow boxing, I would not think this guy is world champion, and somehow this guy is world champion. That being said, though, he did break Sean's nose pretty badly in the third or the fourth. I forget what round it was. I think it was the third. And Sean Strickland tried to pop it back in, but he popped it back in the wrong way. And it just looked pretty nasty. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Yeah. But at the end of the day, man, Sean Strickland is a tough mofo. It goes to show you, I'm not even trying to take anything away from DPP, but it goes to show you how good Alex is, because Alex straight knocked Sean Strickland out cold, and DPP now had 10 rounds with Sean Strickland. And I think, regardless of knocking him out cold or not, I just think that comes down to that's actually better on DPP's part, because that's experience. As a champion, you kind of want to be tested. You kind of want to be tested because the question is, man, this guy, a lot of the times for these up and comers, the question is, man, this guy's not battle tested. And when you go 10 hard rounds with Sean Strickland and you just come off of a win against Izzy, there's no defining it. You just come off knocking out Robert Whittaker as well. So you have Robert Whittaker, Sean Strickland, and Izzy. Some of the three best middleweights that the sport has seen outside of Anderson Silva and a few others. That is props to DPP. His legacy will forever live on at middleweight if he does decide to go up and try to challenge Alex. I know there was a call out at the end of the fight, but right now you're 23-2. You never lost in the UFC, and you just came off of a performance that I would say is better. I'm not even trying to be a hater. It's better what Ilya just did at featherweight. Yes, Ilya knocked out Alex, and yes, Ilya knocked out Holloway, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Ilya, but when you have DPP beating Robert Whitaker, beating Izzy Adesanya, and then beating Sean Strickland, that has to stand for something. And I honestly don't think that DPP is getting the respect that he deserves. So I'm gonna be a loudmouth about him, and I'm gonna fly the DPP banner because as much as I wanted Sean Strickland to win this fight, I will say this: whether you hate it or not, DPP knows how to win, and I'm gonna be rocking with him for his next out, whether it be going up. I think that kind of scares me. I don't know if I want to rock with him if he moves up, but whoever wants to challenge him at middleweight, I guess it's Shemaya. Shit, damn, that's gonna be a tough one. But who am I to pick against the champ? So I'm gonna say I'm proud of him, man. As much as it was lackluster, he did get the job done, and that does count. Getting on to Wei Li Zhang and Tatiana Suarez, I'm gonna let my co-host get his thoughts on it first because I don't want to hog the mic. Go right ahead, Raphael.
Yeah, between for like Tatiana Suarez versus Shane Lee Sean, I mean, that was like very impressive at all. But I mean, Tatiana Suarez, she fought like a lot of things, but don't be surprised because she had to fight those hands with ultimately with the single to choke that will stop like blood to the brain, but unconscious. But between for that fight, I mean, that was just like hitting a wall. I mean, for that reason, I'm both fighters. I mean, they just mostly were good because I know that Tatiana, she just ran out of the gas because I was like more shocked how ineffective when it comes to like anything. I mean, Sean looked phenomenal. I mean, the other hand, Suarez, it looked really bad with his hand because I understand that her takedowns had no setup and she was just like bum rushing inside. She haven't had the underhook it on the bottom and the bunch are unable to rest it up. But I know that Suarez, I mean, they actually doing in that. But everybody that took it at being Sean is unbelievable. I mean, she gave like a master class in another level. I mean, Tatiana somehow forgot this is called MMA, which is the mixed martial arts. And she was spamming the same takedown all fight long. But you got to bring it more than one move because it's not only just one movement, but also you can prevent something. I mean, there's all there for those movements because I know the Whaley defended 14 of 15 attempts. That's really insane because many of those fans are over half of the decade to see Tatiana finally get the title shot, but only for to get dominated. But defended 14 takedowns and completely took over the first one. That was just like a really amazing performance. I mean, the most explosive fighter that I would see at 115, and she got out of the case to be like a top 5 female fighter of all time, and she's got 35 years old. I mean, she's still bouncing, just like at a fit. I mean, I'm very impressed. I mean, she got like the most skilled woman fighter ever, but I couldn't believe that. I mean, there's a lot of respect for the champ. I mean, will it show other levels? I mean, that would be a very competitive, close 50-50 fight, but she would have loved the grappling since the loss of the Rose. But I'm not really sure if we can bring like a third fight between them, and she will be massacre Ross at this point. But I know that between Charlotte and Shane, could we have the rematch against Valentina Shevchenko? But how? Because she opened out like a decent favorite, but they had some respect came out of Suarez, and even after the line surrendered the way. But I know that Suarez, she became like, I don't know, like a lackluster because one of the worst performances that I could see because someone to get in the title shot. Her wrestling was awful. She did the most telegraphed wicked shots because her striking was terrible. She had zero defense. And somehow, Shane Shot, they just proved the entire world that she is the best.
Yeah, dude. This is definitely, we're living in a time where, there's so much times we look at a female fighter and we almost want to overlook them due to the lack of competition in the female division. And then they do something special and release that fighter. She comes into the sport going 0-1, goes on this significant win streak, gets signed by the UFC, goes 5-0 in the UFC, and gets matched up against one of the best strikers that the UFC has ever seen in the female division, and all of the divisions combined, in Rose Namajunas. Obviously, coming off of that big win against Joanna, you're thinking she had all the momentum coming off. I believe she fought Trisha Torres in the wake of that. She fought Jessica Andrade in the wake of that, and the all hype was her defending the strap. But she takes a loss, right? She takes a loss. That's another story for Rose. Rose is such a special fighter, but I don't want to lose track of my point. That's another, that's another win for Rose, right? She comes back, tries to gain. I believe she kind of rushes back, right? She loses in April. She kind of rushes back in November to fight Rose. She ends up losing again. She ends up almost getting knocked out, but doesn't, Then she comes back after losing twice, right? So this is a fighter that literally is 0-1. She goes 21 fights in a row without losing, and then she loses twice. So now she's 22-3. And then now this is a 21-3. I'm sorry. Now this is the fighter that just kind of honed her skills. And this is why I respect Ray Lee so much. And this is why I think she's gonna go down as one of the goats in the female division.
That's right.
Straps in her seatbelt and she gets back to work. And now she's on this amazing win streak. I believe she's now on a 5-fight win streak where now it's the second generation of fighters. Think about that, guys. There's only a few champions that live through generations of fighters. And I know her time is much shorter than the other champions.
Yeah.
But this is a fighter that literally fought through a generation of old timers. Basically, I wouldn't say retired old timers because they still fought. But now, I believe she fought most of the old timers back in 2020, 2019, 2018. Now, in 2025, absolutely showing up these new up-and-comers. Obviously, Yang was before that in April of 2024. But then put some respect on Ray Lee, man. Like, everybody... I don't know if everybody had it, but I would say 60%, 70, 80% of the community, including myself and Vegas and my co-host, had Tatiana win in this fight. And not only am I surprised, I'm not surprised at the fact that she pieced her up. I'm surprised at the fact that she stuffed takedowns easily, like my co-host said, like Raphael said, 14 or 15 stuffed. She got one early on in the first round. And looking at the first round when she got that one and all she did was control the ground, you thought like, damn, Ray Lee was almost, damn, Tatiana could win this fight. Yes, Ray Lee got the late reversal, but you're thinking in your mind like, damn, Tatiana could win that fight. But oh boy, was I wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, right now, Sean Whaley is basically like the female version of.
Oh, she good.
Yeah,
she good.
She had completely well-rounded and dominate, just like a counterpart her peers, because she got good technical strength and athleticism. She transformed herself into like elite despite that not being her background, and started out wrestling everybody, even though supposedly the credential ones. So far, one of the all-women's MMA champions so far all the time.
She definitely is gonna go down as a GOAT, and I just think that we got to start putting some respect on these champions' names. At least I'm just talking to myself at this point because I'm so disrespectful at times. But if you really think about it, DPP is now what, 23-2? Ray Lee's now 26-3. Why does it take a guy from Dagestan to come and recognize and we all worship them? You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to take anything away from Islam, but why do we all worship Islams and when Islam comes and you know what I'm saying? It's almost like we all love the Chaporias, right? The Ilias of the world, right? We all love that. But then it's like, man, for a 312 for the middleweight and the women's strawweight divisions, it's almost like, hey, they some tough mofos too, you know what I'm saying? These are mofos on the streaks too. That's the difference, right? Ilya just got his. These are mofos on streak. And why is it the only mofo that we care about when it's on the streak is in the lightweight division? I'll be honest with you, right? It's only in the lightweight and the light heavyweight division that we care, right? In Alex and in Islam we trust. And I guess because Alex and Islam been putting on shows. But I mean, like, put some respect on the Ray Lees and the DPPs of the world. Getting into someone that I knew was going to get knocked out, that shouldn't have got knocked out, but guess what? He got knocked out was Tafa. Here he is. You know, I'm not trying to be mean. I believe me and Rafael predicted this fight. This guy just doesn't. I mean, like, I don't know. There's levels to this shit, and I just think at the heavyweight division, I thought we moved past this kind of shit, but I guess we still have this kind of shit. What I mean by this kind of shit is a 500 fighter. I thought, you know, you look at the heavyweight roster in 2025, and you're like, oh my God, you could take anybody in the top 15, move them back in time to 2009, and they'll take out the champion. That's how talented the heavyweight division got. And then we have Tafa, and I'm not trying to disrespect Junior and Justin, the one who just fought, but you have a guy making his debut who literally hasn't fought anybody. There's nobody on his vet. There's nobody recognized. Obviously, there's somebody's. But there's nobody recognizable. Should I back up? And there's nobody recognizable on his resume. And you just gonna get him come dog walk you to the fence and elbow you? It's like, bro, you're a UFC fighter. Like, how did you not see that coming? I'm not trying to be mad crazy here, but at the end of the day, I mean, like, Tafa, this was my problem with him, and look what happened, Rafael. So I'm gonna let you take that over. Welcome, James. Raiders, he said. I'll let you do it better than I am. Yeah, I'm a Giants fan, but go ahead, my man.
Yeah, even though he's a Giants fan, but I'm Las Vegas Raiders fan. So there you go. So salute to you, James Firpo. But look, after
and I will say this. My sister does live in Vegas. I live in Cali. I'm in Vegas at least 3 to 4 times a year. Vegas is my second home. If I had a second team, I don't know if I'll pick the Raiders. But hey, I'm nothing but respect for the Raiders. I'll be honest. I have to be I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I have nothing but respect for the Raiders. Go ahead, Rafael.
Yeah. All right. So after we just saw like the main event and the co-main event of UFC 312, now that you mentioned Islam Makhachev, because I know that what I just saw all for like the social media, because Islam Makhachev said that he will fight against Ilia Topuria, but only after Ilia earns his shot. Because whatever they say, I'm not going to give up his shot.
I don't think Ilia did anything to move up. I mean, like, I'm a big believer of people like GSP. Because I grew up with that, right? I grew up with the Anderson Silvas of the world. I grew up with the GSPs of the world. I know of, and I used to watch as a casual when the George the Randy Coutures and the Icemans and the Tito's was fighting, and then the Jeans Pavlers was fighting. But I became a hardcore back in GSP days, and in GSP days, you stayed at your division, you defended your division, kind of like Mighty Mouse, Demetrius Johnson. You know, put some respect on his name. One of the greatest to ever do it in all weight classes combined. I believe he had 13, 12 or 13 title defenses. Anderson Silva had 14. So it's almost like I'm a big fan. And you look at a generational guy like John Jones. I'm a big fan of people defending their strap. I get what Ilya is saying. You know, well, I took over the division. I technically beat the 2 best in the division. But yeah, you beat the 2 best in the division. But at the end of the day, the 2 best, nothing against Alex and nothing against my favorite fighter on roster and Max, those 2 best is going to be retiring in 5 years, closer than the 2 up and comers. And yes, we have an undefeated guy that takes everybody to the decision. But what about Diego Lopez? Diego Lopez is a hot commodity on a 4-fight win streak. They certainly sold to get that title shot. Now, if you ask me, I give it to Amir. I believe that's his name, Rafael, Amir. Because Amir is on a like a 18-0. Yeah, he has 9 decision wins in a row, and yes, Ilya, he's saying he's a boring fighter, but at the end of the day, I respect Ilya for his game. Like, he's there to put on a show for us fans, and as much as I didn't like him at first because I thought he was cocky, I mistaked his confidence for cockiness. And now that I realize, man, this guy is literally like an MJ in a sense. Like this guy's calling his shots and getting it done. I do think
Yeah,
I would rather see him face a Diego. As much as I want to see him face Islam, I think there's levels to this shit, and I think he's almost out of his boundaries. Who am I to still think he has the size for Islam? Islam's battle tested, and not saying that Ilya is not battle tested, but I think Destin Poirier hits harder than Alex and Max. And if Destin Poirier can't knock Islam out, I don't think Ilya will be able to knock it. I honestly think Destin Poirier at his full strength might hit harder than Ilya. Ilya has better technique, hands down, way better technique than Destin Poirier, but Destin Poirier is a dog, and if you can get past Destin Poirier, and if you can get past like Money Makano in a fashion like, well, he number 10, I'm supposed to do that. What I'm gonna let number 10 take me to decision. I just think Islam is where Ilya wants to be, but if I'm in Ilya's camp, I'm just saying, brother, like there's no need to rush this fight. Like there's no need to get a loss on your column before it needs to come. Like obviously he could go out there and he could beat Islam, but I just think that as strange as this sounds, I don't think Ilya has even reached his prime yet. And I think this will be a better fight with Ilya in his prime. I think right now Islam beats Ilya. But I think if this fight happens in 2 to 3 years, Ilya beats Islam. But by then Islam's probably going to be retired. And we all thought Usman was going to be the up and comer, but honestly, I'd rather see Mawab go up and challenge Ilya than Ilya go up and challenge homie Islam. But if you want my honest truth, as much as I want to see homie get his title shot because he's undefeated, I think as a fan and as an entertainment value, as a promotion, you book Ilya versus Diego Lopez. I mean,
oh yes, I would love to. I would love to, because you know why? We need new blood, because all those persons that are really tired of seeing like the same faces in the title picture of those lighter weight classes. I mean, Moretti, it's just like the spice of life. Ilya Topuria not be around the featherweight for much longer, and they do like the kind of thing to move up. We need to see like it against not only for the bets, but also his contemporaries, how legendary could be. Because I think that when you're talking about Diego Lopez, I mean, that could be like the next big thing. Because I know that Ilya should get Lopez. I mean, the winner Aljo versus Mostar would get a whenever wins that. I mean, Diego has 5 wins ever since he lost a controversial decision to Mobsar. It's crazy that some people actually they want. Yeah.
I mean, like, share my screen. I'll let you continue talking. But I think if you're Ilya, I'm not saying you can't move up. I don't make the fucking rules. What I am saying is you have work to do, bro. You have work to do in your own fucking division. So don't be running away anytime soon, because I didn't mean to click on him. Don't be running away anytime soon. And I don't think he's running from anybody. But I'm just saying this. I mean, like, these two right here, I don't really count Yarrell, like all of that. You know, no. If you really want to make a name for yourself, you beat these two motherfuckers back to back, and then you can do whatever the fuck you want to do. If I'm in his camp, I'm telling him, bro, you go out there and you dominate Diego Lopez, and then you go out there and you finally get this motherfucker his title shot. That's 19-0. Nobody wants to fight him because he's going to the decision. Are they scared, or does he just know how to win? I think this is a guy that just knows how to win. This guy is putting away people after people after people after people. Exactly. It's boring as hell, but I think that's someone that knows how to win, right? So if you're so-called a legend, right, in your own right, you go out there, you beat Diego Lopez, and you wrap that up by beating Mozart in 2025, and then in 2026 you can fully dedicate your whole training camp to this guy right here. But because at the end of the day, there's still Orman. There's still so much people that's this, and I get it. Dana White would be Dana White. He'd be like, Orman don't deserve a title shot no more. We took that away from him. But I'm not saying Max Holloway is going to be fighting for the title shot anytime soon, but there's no reason to follow him. There's no reason, Ilya, to move Red Max Holloway to light heavyweight. because if that's going to happen, obviously, if that happens, Max Holloway shouldn't be ranked because Max Holloway is never going to fight at featherweight again. But if that happens, then maybe we get Diego versus Alex, or maybe we get Morzo versus Diego. But that being said, I do want to see Ilya defend his spot, man. Like there's people to fight right here. And like, yeah, I get it. You fought Max and you fought Max and you fought Alex, but dude, there's two fighters right there, bro. That for me, I get it. Everybody wants to add Islam to your resume, but for me, you add those two fighters to your resume, bro. You might go down as the best featherweight of all time.
Exactly.
If not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and
I'll
I'm
let
very
you talk,
glad
but I'll be right back, broski. I'll be right back in 2 minutes. All right, actually a minute, but you got it.
And I'm very glad that you just brought everything in attention to share the screen. But I mean, they just need to defend their own division. I mean, I don't like to decide to jump divisions like this is boxing. I mean, you can wipe out the division when you're thinking about moving up, because I don't know that if a double champ has a better legacy than the champs had 7, 10 title defense or their division. I mean, that's very much impressive that getting free title shots at higher weight classes. I mean, where you don't even have to risk your belt, but also highly disrespectful for everyone else in the division grinding their asses off to get a title shot. But it seems that it couldn't make it happen. I mean, the question, how is going to be Superior defend? I mean, they're going to sit around and wait for Spain to fight Bulk or anything Diego Lopez. I mean, they're very close enough to announce everything, but he has it a very doubtful. I mean, it's going to be like between for like Lopez versus Il Tuporia. I mean, if they had to, because no one wants to see Bulk get knocked out again. I know that Bulk is a great champion, but he got knocked out of the second round because it wasn't like a close split decision, like a knockout. But why we get an immediate rematch? I mean, Lopez was a backup fighter. Why not Bulk? But I don't think it's gonna be really possible. But Lopez should be like the net, but it looks the UFC wants Bulk. I mean, it's gonna be risky, but it's gonna be like a 5-round match against Evolve, but it's gonna be like ready. But personally, I mean, they have more than 3 or 4 title defense before getting the shit to become a double champ. I mean, it's cool, but the first time of the fighters hopping around and holding the division was getting too much. But between for Diego Lopez, I mean, could be ready defensive yet. I mean, Ila Topuria doesn't want to like anything happens because Diego sometimes get wild. I mean, when you go work it out this favor, you never know. But it's gonna be still recovering. But if he wants to step up and fight, consider the circumstances leading up for the first fight, which actually happens. I mean, he really deserves that match more than anyone. But it's gonna be really shaping it off of the fights. It is not even November yet. But I concernedly that if we want to see like the division fights, if Lopez want to smoke that pack, I would rather to see that because that would be like a huge impact to everyone. I think you muted.
Yeah, I was just double checking some stats to make sure I got this
Yes.
my take correct. But yeah, so that makes total sense because Ilya is a fighter that just became featherweight champion. Like I get it, you became featherweight champion, and you have back-to-back wins against the best who did it in the division outside of Aldo and Connor. But at the end of the day, you still didn't clear out your division because you have Diego Lopez there and you have Ezolov there. At the end of the day, that's why I'm opposed of Ilya moving up to fight Islam. Moab. Let's look at Moab. Why I think Moab moving up to fight Ilya makes sense is because of what you said and what we've been talking about is Diego Lopez versus Ilya makes the most sense. But if someone wants to move up, it should be Moab. He cleaned out his division. Moab has wins over Sean O'Malley, wins over Peter Yan, a win over Umar, a win over Cody, a win over Marlon Vera, a win over Henry Cejudo. The only motherfucker he didn't fight in the top 6 or 7 is Homie Davison. But Homie Davison just lost to Peter Yan. So why does Homie Davison get a title shot? So if anybody should move up, it should be Moab. Because Moab literally cleaned out his fucking division in a sense. all the way down to did Moab even fight fucking Rob Font? I guarantee you he probably did. No, he didn't. But at the end of the day, there's shit to be said. You know what I'm saying? Moab beat all of those motherfuckers right here besides Davis and Figueroa. So who the fuck do you feed to Moab? You feed him Ilya. It makes fucking sense. But you can't do that because there's Alex in the way, there's Diego in the way, there's Mostafayev in the way. So that's why it's like Ilya. Like, I'm a hardcore fan and I tweak on this shit. You saying you want to fucking go and fight Islam is you just caring about his name and not really giving the opportunity to Diego Lopez or Mozart. I get it. You want an exciting fight? Okay, you want an exciting fight? Here's your fucking exciting fight. Moab. Before you go run away and try to follow Max to light heavyweight, I like lightweight. I'm sorry. I believe there's challenges to be met. And if you look at Moab, there's no challenges to be met. What is he fucking gonna do? He's gonna wait for a competitor to rise out of all of these guys. And what I've seen him do against Umar, he beats everybody on this fucking list. He beats everybody on this fucking list. There's only one person on that list that probably can beat him, and it's Sean O'Malley. If Sean O'Malley really fucking takes his training seriously and really comes out there in the second fight, if it does happen, and really fucking hones his fucking skills. But outside of that, Umar is gonna need a couple more years to get what we all think Umar was, which he wasn't. Umar's brother is there, but Umar's not there yet. Will Umar become one of the best fighters that we ever seen? Maybe. But right now, what he just did against Moab, it doesn't look likely. So if anybody's going to move up, you reward Moab with a move up. If Ilya moves up and he fights Islam, am I going to be sad? Fuck no, that's an amazing fight. But if anybody's going to get rewarded, you reward Moab. And that's what they're forgetting. It's a reward. To move up and go capture a title, a second title, it should be a reward. It shouldn't be taken lightly. There's few that ever did it. And I almost look at that as like, that is like, that's a prestige moment. You know what I'm saying? And then I don't know, to compare it to anything, it'll be like you worked your ass off to get to that level where the UFC respects you enough to be like, yes, we want to see you compete for a second title, you know? And nothing against Ilya, but I just think there's pieces in his path, and those pieces are Diego, Alex, Mozart, and Moab. But I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna let my co-host say whatever he needs to say. But let's get it.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, there's a last thing that I just wanted to tell it about when you brought Sean O'Malley. I mean, honestly, what I just saw between this one, I mean, basically he's like a striking genius. I mean, as much his striking is very great, but he also struggles with his opponent, especially stances what he does. But why for that fight between Sean Strickland versus Chito Vera, and those fights were all the comparison to the rest of his career? That's like the easiest way to mess with a switch hitter, switch to him. But I know that for the first fight, the side I was just like, oh my goodness. But then I just watched him fight. I had to see like who else is fighting. There was like a huge respect. But I know that his striking defense is very suspected, but he have the reason to working on it. I mean, actually, because they seem like it go for like the space, go to the straights and cross up. I mean, he really presses it. I mean, a glaring weakness grappling in defense when it's getting pushed. And we're able to guys for like the clinch in case like a range no field. I mean, he really can do very much. I mean, actually a decent grappling, pretty ground on the ground. I mean, they have the really seated, utilized too much. I mean, that's not really at the same level as Aljo in that department. I mean, his best chance to crack Allen and get early. I mean, he can make like very tempted of the shoot, but also he uses strength to keep getting close. But I know that he could be like a real one. I mean, it's like the real star that could happen. I mean, the last Truth fights are really great, but the problem is, I mean, aside from those fights, I mean, they're probably not the best one. I mean, they're really like, this is pretty neat, like the stars right now, but also he's a star. But a few years ago, where they have like well, Conor McGregor, but now how many active headliners get the really kind of the amount of attention he does? I mean, that someone has to totally like something right, something wrong, but I know that the UFC doesn't think that Sean O'Malley is a star. He is a star because he just tried to sell him, and that was just like possible. I mean, we'll kind of look at around wondering that time will be different. I mean, compare this natural to the mic, but I know he's a great striker who comes to
Yeah.
the crowd like everything. He would be like a beggar if they had would look actually very quiet.
And here's the thing, dude. That's why, like, I say out of all the whole list, I mean, like, I look at this list of 1
Uh-huh.
through 15, and like, yes, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of goats coming up as well. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I look at who's gonna get rewarded the championship the soonest, and you're gonna look into the top 5, right? We even add the Davison on that list because Moab could easily, if the UFC forces Moab to say, Moab could, if we've seen it happen before, Moab just hands him a title shot, even though he's coming off of a loss, it's because he never fought him. Would it happen? Probably not. I think the Sean O'Malley fight happens because Sean O'Malley's entertaining and it still sells. And here's the thing I look at it. I think Sean O'Malley really overlooked Moab in the first fight. And I don't think it's Sean O'Malley that we have to worry about. I think it's Tim. I think Tim got embarrassed. I think that whole team got embarrassed. And I just think that with Tim Roche and Sean O'Malley back in the lab and training, like they already know how to strike. They've been doing it for years. They don't need to train striking. I think they need to take takedown defense. Easily said than done when you're going against a machine like Moab. And I'm not trying to play on his nickname, but he is a damn machine. That whole team got embarrassed. And I think, it's you're riding the momentum. You just beat the homie that beat you when you rolled your ankle. And it's almost like you have your podcast going, like everything is going on this for Sean O'Malley, right? They opened up the spear. You're gonna be the only person, and I honestly think it was kind of like we've seen it with Izzy, we've seen it with GSP, we've seen it with all the greats, right? I just think this was a whole slap in the face. But Sean O'Malley is not like he was never taking anything serious, but I just think this is almost like a level up moment for Sean O'Malley. And I think the next time we see Sean O'Malley, it's just gonna be completely different. And whoever he's fighting against, good luck. Whether it be Moab, whether it be him fighting to get a contender spot against Umar, whatever it may be, I just think the next Sean O'Malley is gonna come up almost like in a level up mode, and it's basically because Tim. I think Tim is one of the best coaches that the sport has seen for a while, and I think that team is too elite to not improve by this loss. You don't take losses in MMA, you take lessons, and I think the next time we see Sean O'Malley, it's just gonna be a different Sean O'Malley, and I could be totally wrong. We've seen champions win the championship, lose the championship, and then go on a horrific losing streak, aka Cody. We've seen champions never get a championship shot, lose an interim champion shot, and go on a horrific losing streak in Tony Ferguson. So we've seen superstars that was ascending totally fall off a cliff in Cody Garbrandt and in Tony Ferguson. But I just believe that Sean O'Malley is working hard and is in the lab to prepare for the next moment he gets a shot at that title. And I believe he will win back that title. And that's just truly how I kind of feel. It's almost what Izzy kind of did to Pereira. Yes, he was hurt. Yes, Pereira was inexperienced, so he rushed for the kill, and Izzy clipped him and won. But if I'm Moab, I'm getting the fuck out of there. I'm not running from anybody. It's because I beat everybody, and I'm gonna go on for new challenges in the featherweight division. Like, why stick around? I guess if you want to stick around and break records, and like that's the way I say it. Like I was just saying, like, don't move up. I hate people that move up. I hate people that move up and they have work to do. Is Ilya's division? He has work to do. Moab, motherfucker cleaned out his division. Like, what is left to give him? What's left to give Moab? If you're matchmaking, who in the top 15? I even scroll down for the fam. Who in the top 15 do you give Moab? Because in my opinion, he beats everybody in the top 15. we just seen Umar, the best in the top 15, probably in my mind, outside of Sean O'Malley, get demolished. So unless you're giving it to Sean O'Malley, who the fuck do you give it to? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it
And
is.
yes, don't get me wrong. There's names down there. But that's unfair to those motherfuckers. Let them rise, Let them rise. They can't just go give it number 15 of Montel Jackson. Here, you get a title shot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to tell you that was like a great show. Then I know that I have a little things to do because I know that I have to stream it about like something about for like the Raiders. But thank you very much. So I suppose because we just have like a special guest with G Nation Inside Sports, where we're gonna leave it to the next week. Well,
Yeah, he probably got busy and definitely leave it to the next week. And I will say this though, not to diss Montel Jackson, you probably gonna get yours, but give it about 2 more years. You stay on this amazing winning streak. I believe he might be on a 5 or 6 fight winning streak. Either you keep that winning streak going, or maybe you knock out 3 or 4 more people, and maybe the title shot is yours. We'll see what happens with his, but I'll let you close the show out because it's been a good one, my friend.
yeah, it's very good right now. So I just wanted to tell you, make sure to subscribe to Zion Zenith and Capitán Rafucho. So don't be a ninja and subscribe, hit the like button, ring the bell for notifications. And of course, it's been another episode of the Combat Club. In this club, we bring everything, the best of the best of combat sports brought to everything. So I know this is going to be really interesting, but have a great night. Have a great weekend. And
Same time next week with Lou for the boxing and the preview of that one. The Bucks for the fam. 6 o'clock, guys. 9 o'clock Eastern. 6:30, 9:30 Eastern. One of the two. Just be tuned in on Friday nights for the Combat Club.
Yes, sir. All right. Have a great night. And of course, just like what you gotta do for the catchphrase, let's get it.
Let's get it.